guys, and welcome to my 33-week update. I can't believe I'm 33 weeks pregnant, or I actually just finished 33 weeks, and it's been quite the eventful week. I have a lot to talk about, so I'm literally just going to get right into it. At the very beginning of the week, I went in for my NST. Was this the first week of NSTs? I guess it was. I went in for my first NST on Monday. And they're 45 minutes long. I had 4 contractions on the monitor. They weren't terribly awful, so I didn't really even think about it, and with my history, neither did the doctor. The concern was with my blood sugars. I bring them in every week, and they've been kind of getting worse, and we've been adjusting my meds, you know, like raising the dose and such, and it just wasn't cutting it anymore, unfortunately. So my MFM did go ahead and, Claudia's playing in the other room. My MFM did go ahead and put me on insulin. I'm going to make a whole other video about insulin and diabetes in pregnancy. I'm not classified as having gestational diabetes. Mine is classified as a pre-existing condition, but there's no difference when trying to explain any of it or how it works, really. I mean, they code it a different way in my chart or whatever, but there's really no difference. What I'm doing now would pertain to someone who has gestational diabetes as well. So, yeah, I'm on insulin. I started out at like the base amount, and they are tweaking that dosage as well. And like I said, I will make a whole video about that. It's not fun, but honestly, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I don't mind pricking myself with a needle. What am I up to now? 6 times a day. I have the 4 finger pricks and 2 insulin doses to give myself, so it's whatever. I mean, anything to make sure the baby's healthy and that I'm healthy while doing this, while making this baby. So I'm okay with that, honestly. I was very disappointed that day, but it is what it is, and if that's what's safest for baby, then that's what's safest for baby. Next item on the agenda, so that was Monday. Tuesday night, I was working from home, so I was downstairs at my desk, and I was getting contractions, and I wasn't really thinking about it. I was like, oh, that hurts, that's annoying. And then I'd do some more work, and then another one would come, and then I'd do some more work, and then after a little while, I stopped, and I was like, this is a lot of contractions, and they're kind of getting more painful. So I was like, all right, maybe I should go ahead and time them just to see. They were every 6 minutes like clockwork. Exactly. Like, I could look at the clock and be like, okay, I have 2 more minutes before I get the next contraction. I didn't realize that because, you know, I was busy working, and honestly, I didn't realize it. The only reason I even thought of it was because they were getting a little more painful, and like, I was finding myself stopping for a minute and being like, oh, that really hurts. So I didn't know what to do. I ended up talking with a bunch of ladies in one of the Facebook birth groups I'm in. It's a birth group for ladies that are due in December, and specifically the one I joined was an unmedicated birth one that leans more towards a natural delivery. But anyways, so I ended up talking to the ladies in the group, just seeing what they, you know, getting a second opinion, talking to my husband, obviously, and especially with my history of preterm labor with Claudia, everyone was like, you should probably really go in, and I was really hesitant. Like, I really was like, no, I think I should just stay home and see what happens. But eventually they kind of talked me into it, because they're like, well, you know, what if you could do something to prevent, you know, it getting worse, or him coming this early, but the fact that you stayed home, now you can't prevent it, so now he is going to come. And I was like, that's right, it's absolutely right, like, I should just go in. but I still wasn't positive. So I did call the answering service for my midwife's office, or my OB's office. I guess I switched to an OB. And the doctor on call called me back, and she said, I'm going to need you to go ahead and go right down. No questions asked. Other than she asked, how many weeks are you? And I said, you know, I'm in my 33rd week. She said, I'm going to need you to go ahead and go down. So I left work, dropped everything I was doing, and sorry, there's a car outside. And I went to the hospital. I went by myself, which wasn't super fun because I was having contractions and they were kind of painful. I stopped. It was like, first of all, I think it was 10:30 at night by the time I got to the hospital. So there wasn't any traffic out, and the way we have to go is like a back way. So there wasn't any traffic or anything, and I did end up having to like slow down and pretty much come to a stop twice, just because I didn't feel comfortable being in that much pain while operating a vehicle. And that was on my way to the hospital. And yeah, the reason I did that was because it was so late at night. Claudia was already in bed and fast asleep. Randy was... What? Oh, okay. Keep coloring. Randy was already actually in bed himself, like trying to wind down to go to bed because he had to wake up for work the next morning. And I was like, you know what? No, you just stay home with Claudia. I don't want to wake Claudia up. That would make it 10 times worse. And I want to bring her to a hospital. That wouldn't be fun. I don't really want to go wake my mom up and bring her to my mom because she's been going into work early in order to help me with childcare while I go to my NSTs. So, I mean, I let everyone know, but I was like, just everyone, you know, go back to bed, get your rest. I promise, you know, this could absolutely be nothing. And if it is something, then I promise, you know, I'll contact you guys right away. So that was the plan. I went in by myself. The first thing the nurse said was, are you dehydrated? And I said, there is no way I'm dehydrated. And so she sent me into the bathroom to do a clean catch urine and to change into the hospital gown. I did that. I brought the urine out and it was literally like a shade off from water. So she's like, no, you're definitely not dehydrated. So, you know, that's usually the cause of when this kind of thing happens. She's like, we can go ahead and rule that out. And I was like, yep. They did do a urinalysis though, just because, to see if there's any like protein or anything in my urine. And they hooked me up to the monitors right away to measure contractions and baby's heart rate. And as soon as she hooked me up, she's like, oh yeah, you're having lots of contractions. I can see them all on the monitor right now, right away. So we basically just let me sit on the monitor for a little while. And then the nurse came in and we did an FFN, which is a fetal fibronectin test, which can tell you, not with 100% certainty, but it's a good predictor of whether or not you'll go into labor. I think it's within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It can somehow measure like the cervical changes going on. And they did the GBS test because I haven't officially had that done yet because I'm only 33 weeks. They usually do that around 36, 37 weeks. So they went ahead and did that, and they checked me. I, at that point, was 1 centimeter dilated, but not all the way through, because I was 0% effaced. So my cervix was still nice and thick. So on the outside, I was completely a 1. She could get her finger right in there, but the problem was that she couldn't get her finger all the way back to like touch baby's head because I'm still so thick. The 1 centimeter didn't penetrate all the way through the cervix because I wasn't thinning. So I'm 1 centimeter on the outside. I have no idea what I am on the inside, or, you know, she wasn't going to like keep trying to shove her finger up there or anything. We were trying to be as gentle as possible because obviously we don't want to disrupt anything and cause more contractions and more labor to go on. The FFN test did come back negative. I also tested negative with Claudia, and an hour after getting the results of that test, I was taken via ambulance to a bigger hospital where I was in preterm labor. So, I mean, the test isn't 100%, so I honestly didn't even really care. And she said that because the FFN test was negative, they decided not even send off my GBS culture because it was kind of just a waste of time and money because, you know, I'll get it done in the office anyways if I make it to the office. Like if I make it to that point in my pregnancy. So, yeah. The urinalysis came back that I did have a little bit of leukocytes in my urine, which, if there was a lot, that would have been cause for concern. Those are white blood cells. But because there was such a very, very small amount, it's likely that they were just epithelial cells that fell off while trying to get the sample itself. So they did send it away to do, like they did the urinalysis, but they also sent it off to get a culture done on it, which takes a couple of days. And I haven't heard back, so I'm assuming no news is good news. And I have plenty of appointments coming up this week. Maybe one of the doctors will know what the actual results are at that point. But I'm taking as no news is good news. Obviously, if they, you know, there was an issue and there were white blood cells in my urine, I'm sure they would have called me fairly quickly because I'm sure we would have needed to do something or more testing about that. So I continue to sit in the hospital on the monitors, and the contractions actually got way worse to the point where I was gripping like the arm on the side of the bed rail kind of thing. It was actually getting pretty intense, and in my head I was like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to have him this early. If this gets any worse, they're gonna end up sending me by ambulance to the bigger hospital again. And in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. But I tried to relax. But then the other scary part of it was that any one of the nurses, like, you know, there's several out there, one of them would run in and say, like, we need to shift you a little bit. Baby's not liking the contractions. I had a feeling of that when I was home because I would get a contraction and then he would kind of flip out in there. And then I'd get a contraction, then he'd flip out again. Like he was moving so much to the point where actually when I first got to the hospital and they hooked me up, the nurse was like, is your baby breech right now? Because I swear I feel his head up here. And I was like, he's been in position perfectly fine the whole time, but I honestly think he probably was because he was moving so much. It was causing me so much more pain on top of the contractions. Like, I have no doubt that he was just like flipping many times in there. He is head down right now. I know because I can feel his hiccups. Like where I can feel his hiccups is like in my cervix. So that's good, but yeah, he was flipping out between contractions. His heart rate, like I would get a contraction and the monitor all of a sudden is like boom, 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 like 10 times faster. So they had to keep coming in and like shifting me more to one side, more to the other side, whatnot. And we finally found a position that worked, which ironically is my left side. He likes me to sleep on my right side. Normally they tell you to lay on your left side when you're pregnant. I should be laying on my right side, which I do anyways. That's what's more comfortable. My left side honestly isn't comfortable, so I guess that was for a reason, right? So after a while, we were able to get him to calm down enough. And I know that if I get lots of contractions and he starts flipping out, that's exactly what I need to do, is to get to my right side. But that was kind of scary to know that he wasn't taking it well, because Claudia, every time I had contractions and I was put on the monitors, like, she was doing fine though, and he wasn't. But I was discharged at like 4 in the morning, and I got home close to like 4:20 in the morning. Basically the nurse came in and asked, all my tests were negative, so really it was just my body wanting to go into labor. Like there was no reason for it. I didn't have an infection. I wasn't dehydrated. So she came in and she asked me, do I want to try to go home or do I want to stay there? Like, it was completely up to me. And I said, honestly, I'm tired. I'd like to go home. You know, this isn't my first baby. I know what else to look for in terms of things coming more rapidly or whatever. I had made, oh, they did check me again and I made 0 change. I was still 1 centimeter. So I said I'd like to go home and just see what happens. And they had spaced out by then. I forgot that whole part of the story. They did decide once the contractions were getting worse that they asked if I wanted to take a pill called Procardia, which spaces out your contractions. And I wasn't sure, so I had them call my OB because I wanted his specific opinion, even though he wasn't on call. And they did that for me, and he was happy to take the call, and he said yes. So I did take 1 dose of Procardia, and then I was there for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 more hours. And I was starting to doze off, which was a good sign because I would wake up with the contractions, but at least I was comfortable enough to like sleep between them. So when they did ask if I wanted to go home, I said, yes, I wanted to go home. I think I can get at least, you know, at least some sleep tonight. And I had, you know, I have tons of appointments scheduled anyway, so it's not like I would have plenty of follow-up. So basically we've gone into overdrive over here. My hospital bags are all packed and ready to go. I feel so much more pain and so much more pressure than ever before. And I'm still having contractions. Last night they actually did end up being 5 to 6 minutes apart again. But I did manage to get them to space out in time to go to bed, and I fell asleep and never woke up to any painful contractions. So I'm sure I was contracting, but I don't know if I was just tired enough to sleep through it or what. But by morning I've been fine. I get contractions at least 1 an hour, if not more, but nothing timeable at this point. I did start losing my mucus plug the day after, so Wednesday, the day after the visit, and I've still been losing lots of mucus, like thick mucus plug parts, daily, but I'm hoping that it's regenerating faster than I'm losing it, honestly. So, I mean, I'll just keep you guys updated. If I do go into labor, I'm planning to make just a quick video I can upload like straight from my phone using the Wi-Fi here or at the hospital, and yeah, we're just gonna go from there. It's been a crazy week. Nothing much has changed. I still weighed the exact same at both of my appointments this week, and no new cravings or symptoms or anything. So really it's just a waiting game at this point to see how long I can keep this little boy inside me. So I'll go ahead and do a belly shot and then end this video because it is getting way too long. All right. So here is baby boy. I feel like he is super low. Like, this is my ribs. I don't feel him in my ribs at all. He is all just down, down, down. And I know it's kind of a weird angle, but he's way down there. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.